This morning I wanted to explore motif fill patterns that you create yourself. Someone had posted this on the Wilcom site, and she had done this in Wilcom, and she wanted to know why she had all of these extra stitches. It even did her underlay on one row, and then it has these jump stitches on the alternating row. And she had created it, and I did the same. I've kind of followed what she said she did. She had created a clover and then made a motif run out of it, and I got a similar effect using the Bernina embroidery software. I happen to be using the Designer Plus version 9. You can do this in earlier versions of the Bernina software, perhaps back to version 7, maybe before. But I was getting some traveling lines through mine as well. And that was because I had created the pattern with 4 of the leaves. So I realized that I'm probably, before I got that far, I thought, well, what if I turn it? Would it do any better? And it's interesting, but I've still got the every other row has got the traveling stitches showing up. So turning it didn't help me much. So then I thought, well, let's look at it and think of it as a row that mirrors itself before it goes on to the row of the quad. So I created the first half, the upper half, and when I did this, let's run this pretty slow. I think it'll sew that for us first. Some of the things that I do when I'm building a motif is I will go, let's see, is that under? Forgive me. I go back and forth between several softwares. Auto start and end. So I make sure that I turn these off so that it's not starting in the middle. And that's just something I do. I usually get rid of the underlay. And so if I select come up here where it's still trying to run. Let's turn that off a second. So if I select this first one, and if I touch H, I want it to start here, end here. Now I haven't combined them or welded them together. This one I want to start here and end here. And if I go to the object properties, depending on how large you make your motifs, your stitches could be closer together if they were any bigger than what I've done here. But my connectors, I usually turn all of this off so that I'm completely in control. And then the fill, I leave. The stitch angle, I wanted to be at a 45 degree, which is, this is at 45, and this will also be it. So that it'll cut at this get confusing. So it'll be 90 degrees to the direction that these leaves are pointing. And so, yeah, that was working. So I first created this as a motif run. So I'm going to grab them both, and I'll come up to settings. I was going to show you how it ran. Getting ahead of myself, aren't I? So see, there's no underlay. and that's to keep it from coming back on itself. And I just did a separate color just to give me a color stop when I was creating these. Okay, so we can turn this off. To create a motif, you're going to you select the two pieces, even though they're not joined or grouped or anything. I'll come to settings, create a pattern, and I haven't loaded all of my designs onto this new computer yet, so I've just got kind of a throwaway pattern set that I've been using. And then you'll name it. I had already named this one. I don't want to overwrite my other ones, so I'll say 1. It automatically removes color changes, and that's why I got all green instead of the blue, and remove other functions. So this defaults, and I leave it there. And I say, okay. Now, to get this to match up with the other side, I did the same thing with this one. They're not grouped, but I'll grab it and create that pattern. And let's see if this will show me my settings. Okay. So this is what makes this work without having the running stitches or any jumps. You'll use an alternating pattern. So it's going to sew this row and then come back with this row. I use the same sizes on everything. I left the layout just like it is. Did I do any? Oh, okay. So this one is, I had titled this one a duo. That's the little green one. And the blue one I had titled Duo 2. And so this is a feature inside Bernina. And I said, okay. I drew a square. You could draw any shape, really. We go to digitize. Let's do maybe just a rectangle. And it's holding my settings. And to make this neat, it bugged me that to have something cut off like this. I will touch H. No, I'm not. I'm going to select the whole thing. And so now I have these black boxes around it. And I just worked it out to where it did more or less a complete set. Now it's got to have this outline, and so you're probably going to have to come back in with a frame or something. That is how it's moving. So if we watch this one run, let's touch 0 so we see the whole screen. We'll go ahead and speed it up. Speed it up a little more. So the running stitch that you see is how it's pathing to get to the next row. Okay, now this was fun. So I drew a circle and filled it with this same pattern, but then I engaged the globe effect, and that's what gives it the illusion of the dimension that this is going truly forming a sphere. And here's our last one we did. But I think it's fun that you can, okay, I need to select it. Let's select this one. We'll say H. you can build this out. I'm going to right click right here to give that a curve. It will fill any shape you create. So if you just draw, oh, this is looking like a sleeve, isn't it? I've been thinking about blouses and garments, but that looks like a pattern of a sleeve. But any shape that you draw, your motif is going to fill it if you have selected the, and they're calling it pattern, the pattern fill. Like I say, I go between different software and they have different terms. So sometimes it takes me a bit to remember which one is which. But anyway, thanks for watching.